welcome back to Botania. And my little place is expanding out onto the hill over here, my range, my experimental laser range. I've set up so that this mana pool gets started at least. It doesn't appear to be getting much in though, and I've had it going for a little while. Let's see if we can get another one of these on the go. There, and let's aim this at it right. Boink. See where we are. These clicks are very, very precise, but it gives you an awful lot of ways around doing things. It gives you a lot of angles to play with. I really didn't give myself a lot of space here, did I? Let's go. Right. So let's bring this down a little. I like the way that this works. I like the way it works. It's just you got to get used to it. You got to get the hang of it. Right. So now that mana spreader is linked to the other mana spreader, and it's spreading the mana. That's good. And that mana spreader is linked to the mana pool, and it's spreading the mana. And I've got an awful long time to wait before this mana pool starts gaining anything. I think this mana spreader may be spreading to that mana spreader. That's what we're happening at the minute. So, yeah, this is all stocking up nicely. So this one's now stocked. This one's stocking up fairly swiftly, and then the mana pool should start stocking up. So it's not been going very long. You see the flash of a graphic every now and again when there's some mana in the pool. Now we should see the mana pool start filling. Okay, so that's more than enough to start messing about with lenses, which is definitely what we're doing this episode. Lenses. We saw last episode the way of crafting the runes using the relic here. And now we've got these lenses that we can craft. So, that was the runic altar that was used to craft the basic runes, right? And from those, I've generated, well, in creative generated, you could have sat there and actually generated them all, the process here. So bear with me because it's a little complicated looking, but it's very simply laid out, really. You've got the 4 runes of elements. And those are the basic runes that you need to make, and they're made using mostly vanilla items. Then you add a rune of water and a rune of fire, plus a vanilla item to, plus I think it's mana steel. Let me just double check that for you. That one's vanilla, all but the mana steel here, which is fairly easy to get. Yeah, some vanilla items to make the other runes. Yeah, so water and fire make spring, earth and air make summer, fire and air make autumn, water and earth make winter. Fairly nice split of the 4 elements there. We've got 4 outcomes, and we've got 8 runes going into them. Got 2 fire, 2 water, 2 air, and 2 earth. Split nicely amongst them to have the combinations to make the seasons. Some of these don't necessarily make sense with the season, but that's a very balanced approach to have all of those in the right sequence, as it were, so dividing them up. And then you've got these 7 deadly sins along the bottom. The lust, gluttony, greed, sloth, wrath, envy, pride, those 7. And they're made up from summer, air and diamond, winter, fire and diamond. I think they're all diamond, actually. Spring and water, autumn and air, winter and earth, rune of winter and water, summer and fire. I started to notice a little pattern there, though. You've got 2 summers, 1 spring, 1 autumn, and 3 winter. So winter season is used a lot in these end game runes, which means that earth and water will be used quite a lot out of the basic ones. Also, you've got water in these recipes as well. It doesn't really make any difference because you're throwing some random stuff into making these. It's not like you have to farm up too much. But that's the basic patterns. And now we've got a little stock there for the next stage, making lenses, which is mana manipulation lenses. Okay, So to start off with, we have to make a basic mana lens. Now I believe that shift right click is coming in soon to go to recipes and pages of how to make things. Maybe that's in the next one. Maybe. We'll see. Maybe next episode I'll have that included. But I know how to make a mana lens, so we'll do that. Let's just put the raw materials back in there. Mana lens is these like so. Makes a mana lens. Nice and easy in a normal crafting grid. There's no special things that you need to do to make that work. And then I believe these aren't stacking. Oh, they don't stack. Okay, well, that's not a big deal. Is it? No, it's not really a big deal, because you'd make them one at a time to make these lenses. So, the lenses we've got, right? Bore lens is a mining lens. Bounce is like a manipulation of where the beam goes. Damages stuff. Efficiency makes the beam more efficient at traveling, passing mana around. Gravity, I think that gives it an arc. Potency, I think that's basically giving it a bit more of a double amount. Yeah, double burst. So it carries more per beam. So it moves the mana faster, but you start to lose mana a lot faster as well. Which means you could do a chain link, really fast relay system to get your mana from one place to another with potency. Resistance velocity. Velocity increases the speed of the mana burst, which is cool as well. And resistance will significantly increase the amount of time mana burst will go without starting to lose mana. So that's for like long distances. So the bore and the damaging are the two that are going to be like the cool ones to play around with. Bounce and gravity are the two that's going to be for getting around corners and getting your mana across hard to reach places. And then the efficiency, potency, resistance, and velocity are there for just being good at getting things, getting the mana as best as possible to the location, depending on what you need. So let's just pick gravity, because I think that sounds cool and will look good up over there. So gravity is a rune of winter and a mana lens. So rune of winter. We'll take a rune of winter. And we'll take one of these mana lenses, pop them in a crafting table, and I believe that's just it. Yep. Lens of gravity. We'll also have a bounce as well, which is summer and a lens. Okay, so let's get a summer and a lens. Summer and a lens. I may as well have all these lenses, actually, I don't know. Oh, but that one. Summer and a lens makes the bouncy lens. Awesome. So we've got those two for getting the mana around the place. Efficiency, potency, resistance, and velocity. We'll probably need to set them up in our little chain already. Gravity and bounce. We've got bore and damaging next then. So we'll do bore and damaging. So we've got greed. Nice. So we'll have a greed rune. We'll make that one up. I'll have that. And a greed rune to make the bore lens. And the other one is the damaging one, which we'll have to throw a mob in the way, but that's wrath, of course. Yes, of course. And that's there, so we'll have one of those. Sorted. Put that in there. And my cat's running around behind me. I hope you can hear them, because I definitely can. Throttle one of them soon. Damaging, there we go. And let's test these out over here in this little mana spreader over here. Now, we should have plenty of mana to keep this going for a little while. I've rediverted the main farm there across. I've got some really cool ideas for how to make all of these connections and make it farming up mana to make huge mana pools very quickly. I've got lots of ideas, but I still don't quite get an end game. Now, gravity. Okay, let's see. What can we do with gravity? So literally it just sort of like, so we could potentially make it go up and over. So we can bend the mana around slightly to give it that curve over something. If we wanted to just jump it over a block or two, which would look cool. Yeah, having bursts of mana curving around, that would be pretty cool. What did I do? Right click to take it off? Where did it go? I just right clicked. Am I in creative and that's what messed it up? Let's turn creative off. Let's have a look at the lens again. Oh, you can have coloured lenses as well. I didn't see that. Tinted lenses. Anyway, so let's just get the one that we were after, which was the bouncy one. There's bores, damaging colours, gravity. I guess we'll just have a basic gravity. Gravity tinted. We'll have to test those out again. Right, so in survival now, place it, take it back. Right clicks to place it and take it back. It must have been that I right clicked it in creative and broke it. Let's take that one back. Duplicate it once. In creative. Put it on. Right, so now I haven't got it. That's that spare. Right click in creative and I got it back. What could I possibly have done the first time that was wrong? Maybe just a glitch. Maybe just me glitching it out. Right, so that was the gravity. Now let's go for the bounce. So, what's this now doing? It's just up into the air. Let's see if we can aim it down at the ground. Yeah, look, and it bounces off solid blocks instead of just getting stuck on solid blocks. That's cool as well. It's a nice thing to have. I'm not sure when you would use it exactly, but they're the sort of things that I want to find out. They're the sort of... Now I know that this bounce lens and this gravity lens exist. Now I know that... Oh, I lost that first time as well. I definitely right-clicked that time. Now I know they exist, is what I was about to say. Now I know they're there. Let's put that back on, take it off, put that back on, take it off. I can do it after the second time. That's weird. That's a weird little bug there, Vazkii. I don't know what I did, but you saw it. I definitely right-clicked to try and take it off. Placed it on in survival, took it off in creative. Don't know if that's a bug that I've done something wrong or whether that's something that needs fixing. But anyway, I like that these are in the game. I like that I know that they're there. I like that idea. I like that they're there. Because then I can manipulate these mana spreaders. I can manipulate them to solve problems that I'll come across. Like, I needed to get it mana from across there to here and switch it around, and I could do that quite simply with straight routes. But I could have potentially bounced it over something if it was in the way. I could have maybe bounced it, zigzagged it up a building side just to make it look cool. All sorts of things could be possible. With the bounce lens, in fact, with a bounce lens, I could do this setup over here. Let's say, put a bounce lens on there, and have a block that switches it. So instead of it going in one direction like that, it should bounce, shouldn't it? It has nowhere to bounce to. Maybe that's the problem. It should really be bouncing, shouldn't it? It's full. Shouldn't it be? Oh, it's probably bouncing straight back. It's back on itself, so it's bouncing straight back onto itself. That's probably what it's doing there. Okay. But in theory, if I had this angled slightly, I could potentially be bouncing it somewhere else. Let's take that back, put it on that one. See if the same thing happens now. Now look, see? Now I've diverted the beam. So whereas this one's going straight into it and bouncing straight back out at the same angle that it's arriving at, this one's now going in at an angle and bouncing out at an angle, which means that I could have a second mana pool of some description up here. So I could manipulate it, go, right, I want mana pool A to fill, so I'll aim it at mana pool A. No, now I want to switch it so it's going to mana pool B and just literally bounce it off instead of having to do all the one clicks to position it in the right place. So there you go, that's a reason for having the bounce lens on. The gravity lens, well, I'm sure if I think about it long enough, I'll figure something out that's going to be a good use for that as well. But now the funky ones, right? Let's check out these funky ones. So, damaging. So already the beam is going right there. Now, it doesn't seem to be damaging any blocks. Let's take it back off. It disappeared again. First time, it disappeared again. That was a damaging lens, wasn't it? Let's take a damaging lens off there. Let's do bore lens. And it's there, it's going in. We've got plenty of mana. Where's it gone? It has just vanished. That wasn't me that time. I didn't do it that time. Let's go with the basic bore lens again. Boink. Shouldn't it be doing it now? Shouldn't it be killing blocks? Shouldn't it be destroying things? Shouldn't it be destroying things? I was looking forward to destroying all of this here. Shouldn't it be? It's receiving mana. It's aimed down at the ground. It's obviously doing stuff. It's got the bore lens on it. What's the thing that I'm missing? Lens bore. Charges a mana burst with the ability to break any blocks it comes into contact with, draining its own mana to do so. Alright guys, well, after a few short tweets out to Vazkii and figuring this out with a little bit of a hint from him, I've figured something out about these lenses, right? Let's start with the... let's not start with the bore lens. Let's start with the damage lens. Damage lens. Bounce lens, gravity lens, damaging lens. There we go. Start with the damaging lens. Right, now... the thing that I was going wrong with was I was expecting it to beam out mana beams without having a target. It needs a target. It needs a target. So now look, it's not sending a signal anymore because it's just literally filled that spreader. That spreader's full. That spreader's now full. So it no longer sends a beam. So putting this on here now does nothing. Does nothing at all. Whereas if I take a fresh one, like so, it'll start doing a damaging beam. And if we quickly grab ourselves a cow, spawny cow, and do that again, it doesn't take long to fill up, does it? Look at that. Right, put a cow in the middle. Ow, ow, ow. The cow dies. Fairly slowly, but the cow dies from the damage. You can imagine electric fences. They didn't even do enough between the two to kill the cow. Okay. Well, the other block is that one that I showed you earlier, the mana void. The mana void, let's get... Oh, there it is. It's in the mana manipulation on the second page, mana void. There we go. It was made up with some living rock, some obsidian in a crafting recipe to make the mana void. The mana void basically gives this a target. And once it's got a target, everything that beam hits between there and the target is going to take damage. So now the cow from there is going to take damage every time that passes through. Doesn't appear to be a lot of damage, but enough, I guess, to make something happen, an auto-killing chamber or something. I mean, it's a bit like a lava trap, isn't it? The initial hit of the lava blade doesn't kill them, but eventually they're going to die. Now the other one is the bore lens. That's the other one that we had a problem with. Now the bore lens also needs a target to send it running through. Right, so as soon as this target's gone, it'll go and it'll just break blocks that are in its way. And I can't manipulate that in any way, shape or form, really. Let's do this bit again. Let's pop this off into my hand. And let's put another one here that's easier for us to manipulate. Right, now let's have this at the end of the row. Okay, we can get rid of this now. right? And this is now filling up with mana. It's filled up with mana from there. So now it will emit a beam to the mana void. It will target the mana void, but the beam is broken. Oh. Right. So now I'm hitting the mana void technically, but it's not hitting the mana void because those blocks are in the way. Right. Now those blocks aren't in the way, it's hitting the mana void. Okay. So it's firing mana at the mana void. But when those blocks are in the way, it's not firing the mana at the mana void. If I put the bore lens on, it will start firing towards the mana void, but destroy the blocks on the way. Pop the blocks out that are on the way. Now, I was sort of expecting it to be able to just sort of like go, right, let's go down, and let's just smash, beat, blow up stuff, let's just dig a hole in the ground. But no, if there's no mana travelling to anywhere, then it's not going to do anything. It's not going to break anything, it's not going to destroy any blocks. There we go. As soon as it goes to the mana void, it'll start breaking the blocks on the way. So it's not really a useful tool for boring out holes. I'm more considering it to be something along the lines of you plant a sapling there, and as soon as the sapling grows, it would chop down the first blocks of the sapling on its way. Constantly using mana while it's at it. Alright, so the tree grows. Bone meal it very quickly. Just to finish this episode so that we can see the full-on effects of it all. Let's give that some bone meal. There we go. Right, now that should break those two blocks, right? So there's something. But it doesn't break that block above. So I'd have to position things right. Just right. Spot on, in fact. And get the angles perfectly right so that I could potentially make a tree farm with this. If I angled it through the tree so we had, let's say, a void there, a sapling there, and a mana spreader up the top, like above the tree, facing down into the void, but higher up on a higher level, then as soon as the tree grows, it will hit, and then we will be away with it, maybe. Let's see. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the 6th block, and then we put a mana spreader on the top of that. Get rid of these. This is where the sapling can grow to, meaning that the sapling will never be one of those great big stupid saplings. And then we would manipulate this beam to beam down past the sapling. Is it? Yeah, then that's hitting straight at the sapling. Well, we need it to miss that slightly. So let's try and aim it that way a little bit more. Is it not? Is it not moving now? Okay, let me see if I need to stack myself up slightly to be able to manipulate it better. Okay, now just with the shift, let's move it around slightly so it tries to go onto there. Oh, no, there we go. There we go. So it's now aiming down to the mana void. Okay, which is virtually through all the blocks that the tree will grow. And then we try and get this one to head on up to it. Has this got a lens on? It has at the minute. Okay, let's take the lens off. So we try and get this to aim up to that mana spreader. There we go. So now we've got that. Well, it's a complicated tree farm, but oh, did I just do that? I just broke it by accident. Dang it. Okay, let's try that again. 2, 4, 5, 6. Mana spreader on. Break. And then get this to be Manipulate it down onto it there. Let's try getting it just slightly out. Oh, come on. These are difficult to manipulate. Let's go like this. Like that. That might work. I might need to change it just slightly. So now this is getting mana. That's going to that. If we grow the tree, it'll go up into there. It won't go higher than that. But then if I put a lens on it, where did I put the bore lens now? Did I put it in here? Yeah, bore lens. Bore lens. If I pop a bore lens on it, it'll break through the tree to get to that with every mana burst. It just needs a bit more mana coming in. That mana spreader's got in, but the tree stopped the mana from getting to it to start off with. Okay, so now we've got filling up with mana. It's going to do the tree farm effect. Come on, break. Break blocks. In theory, it's there. In theory, I think it's going past the tree though. The other method I thought about was, let's see now. Let's place this here. Okay. Let's place this. Let's get rid of that. Put this on here as the top spot that the tree could grow. And place the mana manipulator there. Place the mana spreader there. And then make it go directly down into it. Right. Change this angle so it's a bit higher up. That might need to go a bit higher than that actually. Yep. Nearly there. There we go. So that's now to that. Stick the ball end on it. And then we would potentially go in and out. There. Okay, so we'll put a block there, say. Pop, pop, and then it would fire the lens through, destroying those blocks. Because you give it a target, then take the target away, and it destroys what would have been in the way once it sent the mana. See, straight down there. The timings and everything for that to make it a tree farm, I'd have to work on quite a bit, because you've got to get the ranges right and everything like that. But the thing about the tree farm there, if I had a tree farm like that, and this is all just like subject to me having a go and seeing what I can do, potentials for things. Where's the other flora even? We want one of those that generates from burning. There we go, endoflame. If we had endoflame around it, right, and we put the sapling down there, then as soon as the blocks are broken, they would get burnt up and potentially could go into another mana spreader, hit that mana spreader to hit that mana spreader to cut the blocks. Mana spreader, hit the blocks. Mana spreader, hit the blocks. And then when the mana spreaders are full, maybe bounce it to another mana spreader to bring it over to a pool, so all the energy it's generated from the wood farm, potentially. And there's also apparatus, the force relay. Yeah. Blocks, tears, fabrics, race, relaying force pistons. No, force pistons. We could do force pistons to move this block around so that we've got the mana there gone, and then boom, it kills stuff. Potentially. At least now I know how it's working. can look into it in a bit more in-depth and try and find out a use for the boar. But right now, the boar doesn't look like it's going to be something of a mining tool. If, for instance, to get it to work, you've got to place yourself a void, a mana void first. If you've got to place a mana void down first, then you may as well dig. Like, let's say we've got this filled in here. If I've got to then go, right, I want to get rid of these blocks, I'll dig down these blocks to put a mana void there, and then it'll work. It'll break the blocks in between. Doesn't feel right, does it? It doesn't feel right. There's going to be functions for that, but I'm not 100% sure yet. So, that's where we're going to leave it for this episode. We've taken a brief glance at those. The other runes are going to be checked out in the future. They're now utility runes, and also the different coloured ones and all that to make nice light shows. Potency, velocity, efficiency, and bounce, and all those. Well, all the ones that we haven't covered today in this episode will probably get covered in future episodes to solve problems, like the potency one and so on. Efficiency, resistance, velocity. We'll try and figure out uses for everything in this mod as we go along. But next episode, we should focus on getting some of this functional flora up and running and see what we can do with it and see what effect it has on hostile mobs around the place. Wow, this place is getting a bit complicated. It's a mana bouncing around all over the place. Anyway, guys, till next episode, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again soon.